Hey there, guys. This is Flamsaron, aka YouTube's Toske. If you've been keeping up with me on the podcast or on my blog, you'll know that I've been kind of getting into Saint Seiya a good bit. It's kind of becoming my new show, the new show I really watch and enjoy. And been trying to watch the original. Been mainly watching Saint Seiya Omega, finished Lost Canvas, and I've watched at least 60 of the original series because that's all they've dubbed. And I also had the chance to interview Illich Guardiola, but that's a different story. But I've also seen the movies that came out on DVD recently from Discotek, so I figured I should talk about them a little bit, give a little review on them. And I guess I'll start off with the first movie, Evil Goddess Heiress. I felt this one was a good one to start off with since it starts off with the Bronze Saints' first cloth, as opposed to their second. Which made it easier to kind of get back into the Saint Seiya groove because I felt like I was continuing where I left off. And even though the voices were in Japanese, it didn't really matter too much to me because I had already sampled the Japanese voices as much as I could. I've already gotten used to Toru Furuya's Seiya, if not for Saint Seiya Omega. Which, by the way, the audio quality of these movies is great. Like, for a Toei animation, it's actually really good. If you watch any Toei anime, any old Toei anime, then you'll know that the audio sounds kind of muffled. Like, especially with Dragon Ball Z, and especially with the original Saint Seiya, it kind of sounds a little muffled. It sounds muffled. It's not even really necessarily. It just sounds really muffled for some reason. And the Saint Seiya ADV movie dub DVDs kind of are a little more clear. The Funimation's Dragon Ball sets are not much. Even the movies are a little weird, which makes me think that Saint Seiya maybe had a bigger budget, which I find very interesting, considering I feel like Dragon Ball is more popular than Saint Seiya in general. Or I don't know, maybe it was making more money or something. I don't really know. For the movie itself, the quality of the image is really good. It's unfortunately anamorphic widescreen, which I mentioned in my Berserk video. So if you played on I played on my HD TV and it didn't fill the screen. It's like it just kind of basically looked like a slightly further pointed out standard definition. Like it was standard definition, but with a little more room to put footage in. But yeah, the visual and the audio quality were really good. So this is definitely a very easy watch, even for an old show, and especially for a Toei anime. But the movie itself, the plot I felt like was a little rushed. I keep thinking that we maybe skipped something because I don't know. It just seemed like it kind of tried to wrap up really quickly, and there was definitely a lot of potential. And the plot, it's very driven by Hyuga, I think. Getting a little crush on Eri, who ends up becoming the vessel for Heiress, the evil god lady girl thing. And it follows usual tropes: the Bronze Saints getting beaten the crap out of. Ikki coming to save Shun whenever he's in really big trouble, and also getting beaten up. But and then Seiya getting the Sagittarius gold cloth and wearing that and kicking butt. So this movie is definitely is probably not best watch back to back. I feel like most people who are getting this DVD set are probably going to do that anyway, but I mean, they're not bad movies. The problem is that's like a general con. Like, we'll say the audio and visual quality is a general pro, and this is a general con. They all sort of tend to follow the same sort of formula. And I know Saint Seiya is kind of known for that, as well as fighting against the odds, which honestly I think Dragon Ball kind of does a little bit better. But the story, Hyuga gets a little crush on Eri. Turns out to be Heiress. And you would think that would bring more friction into the story, but it really doesn't. Like all she really does. I mean, they do a scene where she avoids hitting him, but I think they meant for it to kind of show that Heiress is not completely in control, even though that's not true whatsoever. So why they would have that scene in the first place is beyond me. But the overall, the movie itself, I'd say probably the weakest out of all of them. I mean, I know it's the first movie, and I don't want to become like, oh, it's bad because it's the first movie and they haven't, figured stuff out. I mean, it's the first movie from a big franchise that at this point had probably had 30 or so episodes. I think that they've had plenty of time to figure out the formula of the show. But overall, probably not the best, but still an okay movie. The second movie we're going to talk about is Saint Seiya Movie 2, The Heated Battle of the Gods. This one kind of brings more Thor and Asgard kind of thing, which I feel like was a bit of a mistake on Toei's part, just because of the fact that they're going to throw in a filler. I know I'm aware of the filler arc of Saint Seiya, the original TV series, where it's about Asgard and whatnot. But I'm also aware that they weren't aware that. See how many times you can say aware in one video. They weren't aware that they were going to probably do a filler arc, and the movies are filler as well. But this one follows the same trends. I feel like it seems to go on a little bit longer. And then the previous one, just in terms of pacing, that was my main issue with the first one. It didn't have too good pacing. That was sort of the issue. But this one has decent pacing. It seems to have sort of a beginning, a middle, and an end, like most movies should. Seiya in this one in particular is a bit of a sass. There's a scene where the Bronze Saints and Athena, or I guess Saori or whatever, they're walking down, and Odin's god soldiers or god warriors are walking down, and they're deliberately stepping in their way. One guy kind of pulls his sword out slightly from its hilt just to kind of get in the way of the Saints. And Seiya just has his hand on his little hip, and he looks at this one guy and he's like, indeed. He's like, bitch, I'm fabulous. And when we watched it, because I watched it with Nick and AJ, we all kind of cracked up because it's just wow. Little sassy boy. But yeah, Seiya's pretty cool. And if you're a hardcore Saint Seiya fan, you've probably already seen these movies either in Japanese or likely in Spanish. Because over in Spanish territories and European territories, not territories, Saint Seiya is quite the big. And also on the cover of the DVD, the first set, because these were released in two sets, Volume 1 and Volume 2, 2 movies each. So overall, the two sets have the 4 movies collectively. It's pretty easy to figure out that Hyuga betrays everyone, and he comes back pretty quickly. It all follows the same kind of tropes. I feel like this is the one where it kind of slightly breaks it a little bit, with Hyuga surviving till the end. But yeah, overall decent movie. Like I said, they all follow the same tropes on some level. And the prior knowledge will probably spoil this movie, but overall, decent movie. I wouldn't really say it's necessarily bad. It was one of my favorites, just because of the of how it was going on. They do throw in a future Saint Seiya character who's going to come in. He's one of the legendary Silver Saints. The harp guy with the blue hair, they throw him in. But again, this is a movie, so it's not canon, and heck, these movies aren't really meant to be canon. But overall, decent entry into the Saint Seiya movie series. I'm just not really keen on the whole Asgard villains we've got going on, since future filler arc, but again, not canon, and neither is the filler arc, so it doesn't even really matter. The third movie on this little list of Saint Seiya things is Legend of the Crimson Youth. And this one is about Saori's brother, Abel, who is another god. And he is as powerful as Saori, or Athena, or whatever. Probably even more powerful because he brings back the dead gold saints. So if you've watched the Knights of the Zodiac or even the ADV dub, you've most likely have only seen 30 to 60 episodes. And I know that sounds like a big range, but I mean that because Knights of the Zodiac only dubbed 30 of the episodes, and Saint Seiya ADV had 60. But so there are some spoilers a little bit, mainly in the later two films, just because of the fact of it takes place after where the first arc left off, and this is the first between the later two films. Can't talk. Where they show the Bronze Saints' second claw, so you get to see those, and that's kind of cool. Nice seeing them in animation, because I'd only really seen them like in games and whatnot. But so that's nice, and again follows the same tropes, except this one I found was a little more interesting because it makes it. Saori starts off by like being like, "Oh, I don't need the Saints anymore because I've got the resurrected Gold Saints," which upsets the entire gang. Like Seiya even starts crying, which really upsets him, showing his big devotion for Saori and his love for her. Don't tell Koga. Spoilers for Omega. But then stuff happens and whatnot. It's interesting to see the remaining Gold Saints, and the ones who fought each other, like always pair ups, like Death Mask fights Shiryu, Aphrodite fights Shun, and Saga fights Seiya. So that's definitely interesting, I suppose. This one's a little different in the trends, in that not only does Seiya get the Sagittarius cloth, but Hyoga gets the Aquarius, and Shiryu gets the Libra. So we get to see them in their gold cloth, but it doesn't last very long, and Seiya's still the one to do the final blow. Because he's the main character, he has to do the final blow. But this one definitely had an interesting start, and this was actually the last of them I saw in a bunch. We watched the fourth movie separately, which probably made it better, even if it was the fourth movie and the last of the four, so obviously different stakes. But overall, this one was pretty interesting. Its pacing is a little weaker, I think, than movie 2, but overall decent movie. And of course I just love Saint Seiya, so I like all the movies, but I'm trying to kind of be open-minded about this. So yeah, overall decent movie, but it kind of suffered from some pacing issues and the tropes, which at this point you'd probably expect from Saint Seiya, but And the last and the fourth of the original Saint Seiya movies. I am aware there's a fifth, but not only is that one not canon, I also have heard it's kind of bad. But anyway, last one we're talking about here is Warriors of the Final Holy Battle, which is fitting because they fight Satan, or Lucifer, technically. Not the actual devil, but like the vessel, kind of like how Saori's the vessel for Athena. And Hades, I'm not going to tell you who his vessel is. It's on the cover. But, and it's not who you think it is either, if you're thinking entirely off of just, well, no. Stereotypes are weird, because it can kind of go both ways. But anywho, and this one is the first of the three to actually have Soldier Dream as its opening. The first two movies had Pegasus Fantasy. The third one didn't really have an opening, just kind of had like opening animation to kind of build up the plot. And but this movie had Soldier Dream, and I knew that ahead of time, so this was actually the first one I sampled to check the audio quality, because going into it, I knew Toei did Saint Seiya, so I wanted to make sure that the audio quality was good. But apparently the masters of these films were like the latest ones, which makes me wonder about Toei's priority. It seems like they like Saint Seiya more than they like Dragon Ball, which is weird if you ask me, because I'm pretty sure Dragon Ball is the more popular franchise. Anyway, and this was also kind of the first one I sampled. Like I said, the first one I sampled for everything. This one ties the previous movies together. And it seems to kind of dismiss movie 2, which I'm a little sad about, because I think that one, besides this one, might be my favorite. They do show Poseidon, so this one takes place like probably at the end of the anime, which is fitting, I think. So they show Poseidon, they show Heiress, and they show Abel, Saori's brother from movie 3. So they tie in the previous movies and all that. Sorry, I was picking my lip because I'm weird and I have chapped lips. This movie's pacing decent. One thing I've noticed about these movies, as well as the Dragon Ball movies, is that they are pretty short. And when I say Dragon Ball, I mainly mean Dragon Ball Z, because I've only seen one Dragon Ball film entirely, and that's Curse of the Blood Rubies. I basically have all of Dragon Ball Z at this point, like all of Dragon Ball. Saint Seiya I'm also trying to collect, but there's only so much I can get. This one, interesting, follows the same tropes, and this one kind of is at a higher stake because they're fighting a actual like legitimate god this time. Or rather, they're fighting a higher god, because I'm pretty sure the devil's more powerful than Athena's brother. I'm just taking a wild guess. Probably even more powerful than Hades, which makes this seem very conclusive, if you ask me. But overall, same general issues with it, the tropes, and I only say that just because I'm trying to look at this at sort of like, okay, if I were critiquing this film series and I wasn't really a fan of Saint Seiya, or I had never heard of it, because if you don't like something, you're obviously going to see something bad about it, just because. But if you've never seen it, you're a little more open-minded to it. But overall, still decent movie. There's not really too much to say about really any of them besides what I've already said. This one, its pacing is sort of medium. I feel like it's sort of kind of quick. I mean, keep in mind, these are 40-minute long movies. These are like double features that are meant to be shown with like something else. That's how they were aired, I guess we'll say. But still, I don't know. It makes me want to watch Overture and Battle of the Gods when we eventually get it, because we're going to. I know we are. Funimation would be stupid not to, and if they don't get it, I'll probably lose all faith in them, and I'll stop supporting them. No, but that's really all I have to say on the movies. If I were to rate my favorite, I'd say either movie 4, Warriors of the Final Holy Battle, or movie 2, The Heated Battle of the Gods. Just because it's just because I feel like they both kind of have better pacing. Or movie 2 because I feel like it has better pacing, or the best pacing, and movie 4 because of one, Soldier Dream, and 2, it was the first one that I kind of sampled, so it kind of stuck me a little bit. I have not seen Overture, and I know they're doing a new Saint Seiya movie, like a CGI one. Why is beyond me. And who knows, maybe they'll do an Omega movie. I've been watching that. But that's pretty much all I really have to say on things, and of course, Brave Soldiers I'm looking forward to. I should probably do a video kind of talking about just Saint Seiya in general, because it's really rising to be one of my favorite anime franchises. Like, I'd say it's like at least in third place, if not second. I don't know if it'll ever pass Dragon Ball, but who knows. And also, I'll just point in the description of this that I got to interview the English voice actor for Seiya for my podcast, Illich Guardiola, the ADV Dubney. Talked about some stuff, talked about dubbing Saint Seiya as well as other things, and also gave a little bit of a hint of future Saint Seiya stuff. It's really tiny, and it might not even be true, but I think it's still noteworthy that word is getting out there. Probably because I keep spamming Sentai Filmworks Facebook being all like, bring more Saint Seiya! But anyway, that's all I have to say on the Saint Seiya films, and when I get a chance to watch the 5th one, I'll let you know what I think. I'm not going to download it because that's stupid. I'm just going to wait for it to come out on DVD or something, because I'm pretty sure these movies had at least decent pre-orders, but who knows? So, yeah, this is Flamsaron, aka YouTube's Tosuke, signing out. Have you ever felt the true power of the cosmos? Yeah, you probably have. Bye.